Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, Black Wall of Gold. There has been a lot of political talk lately about building a wall between Mexico and the United States to keep out the intruders, those immigrants, the nasty brown-skinned foreigners who dare to invade our sovereign land and rape us of our natural riches and resources and steal our jobs. Well, let's do a little bit of time traveling. Let's say the 1870s in America. And we are met with a similar sort of wall, built by Mother Nature and intended to divide the land and to be strategically used by the indigenous people to slay any foreign intruder. And that wall is called the Black Hills of South Dakota, now home to the Lakota Sioux. And when those Black Hills, that giant black wall of mountainous land, was found to be stuffed and built with nuggets of gold, well, the entire history of the Western Wall of the United States of America was changed forever. The Black Hills would soon be saturated in sorrow and painted in blood and adorned with the caskets of the hubristic and the bones of the brave, all for a little bit of money in gold nuggets. The history of America is the history of the persecution of the Native American, and that condition continues today. The Black Hills of South Dakota are a beautiful mountain range ringing the Great Plains. The hills appear to be black from far away because they are covered in tall pine trees. After defeating the Cheyenne in the Revolutionary year of 1776, the Lakota made the Black Hills their home. In 1868, the United States government officially gave the Black Hills to the Lakota Sioux, specifically stating in writing in a treaty that no white settlers could ever touch their sovereign land. However, 6 years later, when gold was found in the Black Hills in 1874, George Armstrong Custer was sent to ride in with his cavalry to take back the Black Hills in the name of U.S. sovereignty, so the land could be mined in a gold rush. That fight over the Black Hills marked the last great Indian War on the Great Plains. The Black Hills Wars lasted only a year until 1877, but the battles stretched across infamous lines like the Battle of Slim Buttes, the Dull Knife Fight, Battle of Rosebud, and, infamously, the Battle of Little Bighorn, where General George Armstrong Custer, son of the Morning Star, was killed on June 25, 1876. In 1899, the Lakota Sioux were forcibly reassigned by the U.S. government to 5 separate smaller reservations pocking the western corridor of South Dakota. And more than 10 million acres of Lakota Black Hills land was sold to the highest gold mining bidders. White settlers of European descent ultimately settled the Black Hills, and they arrived not for the love of the land, but for the love of the gold in the land. From Black Hills gold to black gold. The fight for the sovereignty of the Black Hills is still not over. Last year, the Keystone XL pipeline was an oil delivery system set to run from Canada and into the United States, touching Montana, South Dakota, and Nebraska. That pipeline is also sort of a wall, dividing and separating people and intentions from their land and their dreams, all for the want of money. There were a lot of protests against the Keystone XL pipeline as people from all over the nation stood with the Dakota Sioux to stop the pipeline from infringing on their land and threatening the ecosystem. After 6 years of review, President Obama finally and ultimately rejected the Keystone XL pipeline because it did not serve the national interest. Another year, another day, another wall, another pipeline. 2016 is the year of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The Standing Rock Sioux of North and South Dakota are, once again, united in fighting against the love of black gold, oil, from infringing on their sovereign land and ruining the environment. The $3.7 billion pipeline doesn't yet impinge on tribal land, but the pipeline would still run half a mile away from the Sioux, and the danger of land contamination is a major concern, since the pipeline will run so closely to the Missouri River, the sole source of drinking water for the tribe. Some civil engineers think digging a tunnel for the pipeline under the Missouri River would solve the problem, while other, cooler minds believe that would only increase the risk for poisoning the water table. The Sioux have religiously argued the pipeline violates the Clean Water Act, as well as the National Historic Preservation Act. But a federal judge and the Army Corps of Engineers disagree, and they have all allowed the pipeline project to continue. The Lakota Sioux are angry because the pipeline was originally supposed to go through Bismarck, North Dakota, but was later shifted toward the Sioux land because federal regulators felt the pipeline threatened Bismarck's water supply. Well, President Obama has once again stepped into the lives of the Sioux to try to save their land from the oil barons. For now, Obama wants to just wait and see, put everything on pause, and find out if the conflict can be peaceably resolved without any more standoffs or law enforcement shooting rubber bullets at the protesters. And those shootings only reignite visions of the massacre at Wounded Knee in South Dakota on December 29, 1890, where almost 300 Sioux on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, including women and children, were surrounded by the 7th Cavalry and shot, execution style, in order to force a surrender and abandonment of the land. And some believe Wounded Knee was Custer's revenge. The United States of America has a terrible history of maltreating the Native American. We, the white folk, have stolen their land. We have ravaged their sacred ground. We give them land, and then we take it back. And no, casinos are not the answer. Honoring the sovereignty of their lives and their history and their culture is what matters. Because, like it or not, the Native Americans are the original Americans, and not us, the white man. Because when we landed on Plymouth Rock, the Native Americans were already here to welcome us. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.